All right, people, welcome to another edition of the New Breed Show, the world's best music show, talking about everything brutal, new death, hard slam, grind, thrashcore, metal. I'm one half of your hosting duo, Jay Horsecow. With me, I have my partner, grind, the notorious TIM. Tim, how are you doing?
Great.
And we're excited, very, very excited for our special guest for this episode from the band Loser. We just actually did a a reaction vid on one of their songs. We're real stoked to have him. Alex, thanks so much for joining.
Yo, thanks, man. Thanks for having me, man.
We are definitely stoked to have you. So why don't you take a second, Alex, to introduce yourself to our audience?
My name is Alex. I sing in the band Loser and do screams and shit. Yep.
Dude,
awesome.
just want to say, man, I came across you guys on like a YouTube wormhole one day, and I was just like, you know, when you have the shit in the background, and I'm like, wait a minute, what is this? And I forget what song it was. Now, actually, it's one of the songs you guys did a video for on the first record. I think it's like track 4. I can't remember the exact name of it, but like, there's something about that track, man. It just caught me, and I just you guys are definitely one of my favorite bands right now. Like, I just love everything you guys are doing. So, like Jay said, seriously stoked to have you on here, man.
I appreciate that, man. Thank you so much.
I'm trying to think of the name of the goddamn song, and it's pissed. I'm gonna look it up on my phone now because it's driving me nuts now.
So while you're doing that, Alex, I mean, I'll tell you, there's a crop of bands these days doing all sorts of, and Tim and I were talking about it last night in a different episode, doing all sorts of like putting all these styles in a blender. And there's guys that are stealing from metalcore, they're stealing from deathcore, they're stealing from black metal, they're stealing from hardcore, they're stealing from new metal, and they're putting it together and it works. And you guys are one of those bands that we found and we're like, these guys are putting the shit together in a way that sounds original, which is kind of tough, right? If you think about all the music out there, it's kind of tough.
Yeah, I appreciate that, man. For one, yeah, no, man, I grew up like actually listening to this shit, man. Like, it's just like I'm 27, so it's like I'm a little bit, you know, older. Not really, but it's like, you know, I was a kid that like my mom was walking around like bumping Korn records, cleaning the house and stuff. Like, went to elementary school with the Korn shirt and the fucking Jinko pants. Like, I was the memes. So it's just like, you know, and like this whole shit started. It was like, you know, I got a lot of passion for it. You know what I mean? I want it to be done the right way. You know, how I remember it.
It amazes me every time someone tells us that story that their parents were listening to like Limp Bizkit or like Korn. It's like, man, how fucking old am I? Like, never would I thought I'd stick around and hear the day where they're like, yeah, you know, when I was growing up in my mom's car, we were listening to Disturbed. It's like, oof, yeah, right. I'm old.
Yeah, my mom was all about like the Korn, Limp Bizkit. My stepdad was all about like the Pantera, Fear Factory, shit like that. So that's the kind of stuff we grew up on, you know.
Nice. So that you had some interesting shit in your ears then, right? Yeah. I mean, it's not what a lot of kids grow up listening to, right?
Yeah, man. Like when I got my for Christmas when I was like, I think like 6 or 7, my mom got me like my first like stereo with the CD player in it, and just like, you know, Korn's Life is Peachy, like Limp Bizkit's $3. Like Saliva, just like all this other shit. And my mom always encouraged me to like listen to music and, you know, find a thing with it, you know what I mean, be connected, you know.
Yeah, that song, by the way, is Escape.
Oh yeah, no, that song is one of my favorites, man.
Dude, incredible track, man.
I appreciate that, man. Yeah, that's one of the softer cuts off that record. We did a lot of shit with that record, but that's one of those songs that like I'll never get tired of like playing it or like, you know, any of that shit, you know.
yeah, I'm a sucker for them type of songs, man. So
yeah, me too.
So let's talk about that a little bit, Alex. Let's talk about we already talked about what you grew up listening to. Let's talk about your influences and how they mesh or maybe don't mesh. Interestingly, so with some of the other members of your band.
I'm kind of like the band old head. Like I listen to like a lot of like older shit, like everything from like Eminem, TLC, Outkast, to some like, you know, like I said, Fear Factory, older Sepultura, stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like just kind of a little bit of everything, you know. Like my roots are definitely like more in hip hop. I think a lot of my band is like we're all over the place. Like we all like a bunch of different shit, but you know.
I think that's typically a sign of a band that's very unique, right? When you have a lot of influences. I mean, if everybody's listening to Pantera, you can't help it that something is going to inevitably start sounding like a Pantera riff, you know?
It's like Throwdown.
Yeah. Well, the early Throwdown had its own monster, and then what's his name? Keith Barney left, and then they became like a really poor man's Pantera. And it just wasn't a good look. No offense, Dave Peters, we'd love to have you on, but yeah, wasn't a good look.
Yeah, that's like my guitarist. Like he's like the Pantera guy. Like having us like in the same room trying to write something's weird because I'm like super chill and like laid out, just like want to do like listen to Deftones or just chill out and vibe. And then he's got he's like a big dime bag stand, so he'll sit there and just like shred. And then we usually just like meet in the middle. That's how like songwriting is and shit.
Okay, all right, cool.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be the guy and ask the corny, obvious question, but I need to know about the band name. Like, because it's not one of them things where it's just like Black Tongue or something. It's like you guys call yourselves Loser. Like, I need to who came up with that name?
Funny story, man. That was like okay, so when we were putting like Loser together, we wrote like a bunch of music, and we didn't really have like a per se like direction for like what we wanted to be called, because we're still like figuring out our music and all this stuff. And I had done like a track for like a project I was doing like up in like the Detroit Metro. I was putting together, and I had some artwork made out for it. The song was called Loser. And it was like my desktop background. And I just remember as I was working in this new project with this new group of dudes, you know what I mean? Like, I just remember like closing the session, opening it up, and we had a few songs like pretty close to like finishing the first record. And I just remember minimizing my stuff, and they're just like, what do we call the band? Blah, blah, blah. And then, they see the artwork, it's got the word Loser on it. They're like, let's call it that. And like we all kind of laughed about it for a couple of days, and then we came back to it, or we couldn't think of anything better. So we were just like, what, like I fuck with that. Let's just ship the music, whatever. That's kind of how that went.
Yeah, I know. It's like when like I was saying, when the video came on, I look at the band name, I was like, okay, that's simple and easy. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Definitely not going to forget it, right?
Exactly.
Self-deprecation never goes out of style. So, Alex, you guys started back in 2016, 2017?
Yeah, we had music we were working on like towards the end of 2015, but we didn't ship any music, I think, till 2016. I think that's when the first record came out. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah.
Yeah, it's it pisses me off because I'm like, how the hell is it 2020 or what? I think 2020 when I found you guys. I'm like, how the hell did I go 3 years without knowing?
Yeah.
Because like Jay will tell you, man, like I listen to fucking everything.
I listen to a lot of music, and Tim makes what I get through in a week look embarrassing. Like he's like, oh, what did you listen to this week? And then it's like, and he's got like 800 bullets. I'm like, yo, what the fuck, dude?
Like I go through. Like, because I used to do another podcast with like hardcore and metal stuff. So like I would have to go through a bunch of stuff to like, find bands I want to talk to and stuff. And I still do it just because I enjoy it. But like, I'm like, how did I miss this band? Because I know you guys went out with Body Snatcher before. And I'm like, that's just weird that I would miss that name.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was like our first ever tour, man. Like that shit was crazy.
It's kind of nuts.
Yes, sir.
Who else was on that tour?
I think it was just us and them, to be honest. I mean, we had a couple dates where I think we like merged packages or like whatever, but I think for the most part it was just us and them. And local support on dates,
Oh, okay. So it was you two guys, it was you two bands touring and then local support every show. Okay.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Okay. Yeah, that's a hell of a band to go out with on is that like your very first tour?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was my very first tour, like as an individual.
Okay. Like you guys, like I'm sure obviously some of you guys were in bands before this, but like this was like your very first tour with a band.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, that's kind of wild.
That's wild.
That's up there with Crossbreed's first tour being Rammstein.
Right?
Like, hey, young guys, come out with us. Okay, cool. Get in the van. Let's go. That's awesome.
That's super dope. Yeah, it was a good time.
I could have swore that I seen a video, and I was trying to find it at work today because we were super slow, but I couldn't find it. Anyway, I could have swore I seen a video of was like, so I don't know if it was like you guys just doing some kind of thing, but somebody was like interviewing you, and you were saying something about like how you started singing. What am I thinking of the right thing?
I think so. I think so. I think may have been like an album, like a sit down, like promo type deal.
Okay. Yeah, it was something like that. I just remember you saying like you said something like you weren't even really into being a singer, but then you just like picked up the microphone. Is that something along them lines?
Yeah. I mean, my first step into like music was like playing the drums. Like when I was like a kid, like I was huge drummer guy, and then I like writing music, so I picked up guitar, and then I had to learn how to record. So I just whole big thing. So like the last big challenge was just like, at a point, it's like I got tired of sitting behind a drum kit. I wanted to write something and convey how I feel and stuff, and elevate feelings on like a personal level, you know what I mean? Have like a personal impact on shit, you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's just funny that it being like that, because like your voice is very diverse in like your songs. Like you can go from the scream to the growl to like I don't want to say like the talking parts, but you do like I'm trying to think how I'm trying to explain this.
It's like spoken word type shit.
Yeah. Like your diversity is impressive. Like the
vocal range. Yeah.
Your vocal range is impressive. I'm exhausted today, of course. But
you're good, man. It's just the weather, bro.
Yeah, it's like super impressive, man. Like the one song, like especially hear it in, and I think it's Pump Fake, right?
Yeah.
On the newer record, like that song right there is like it's very evident in that song and them first 3 songs of that record, honestly.
I appreciate that, man. Yeah, no, it's just like, for me, it's like, I've been doing vocals for like 6-7 years. So it's just like, it's been like a lot of trial and error. So like when we started Loser, typically it's like, I feel like people have like a vision in mind for like what you're going to sound like, what you're going for. But for me, it was just like, I'm just going to do whatever my fucking throat will let me do, and whatever makes on the record goes on the record. And that's kind of how it is when we like do shit like that. So I appreciate that though, man.
Yeah. You guys see like Deftones is my favorite band. So when I hear the chorus parts that you guys do in some of your songs, it instantly grabs me. Like it's a lot of them songs, like you guys do that, like in like Breathing Happiness. Like when I first heard that, I was like, oh, all right. I see where this band is coming from, and I fucking love it. So
I appreciate that, man. Yeah, I mean, it's all about the dynamics, you know what I mean? Like, people could say that like we're a metal band or we're this or we're that, but it's just like, I would always like to retain that like dynamic freedom where it's like, let a song take you somewhere. Like, yeah, like we could write some like stuff that just like crushes and is hard, like, but it's like, if I'm feeling like, if I want to switch up the vibe on a track, it's like, like as a creative, it's like, we should be able to do that kind of shit. So we've always kind of done that since the beginning,
Yeah, it's refreshing to hear when a band does it well too. Like I'm sure Jay could tell you, like when I first found out about that, I'm like, how many times Jay was like, did you fucking listen to this yet?
Oh my God, he bombed my fucking instant messenger. Like, yo, did you listen to this yet? Did you listen to this yet? I'm like, Tim, give me a fucking minute here. But no, Tim sent it to me and he said, check this out. And I think it was one of the videos on YouTube. And then of course I ended up on Spotify and all that sort of stuff. No, I really, really dug it because again, it's when you do this type of music, it's real easy to, I think it's real easy to sound insincere. Like it sounds like you're kind of like painting by the numbers, and you guys don't sound like that. But there are plenty of other bands that are fun. Funnily or sadly, depending upon how ironic you feel, there are plenty other big name bands out there where you can kind of tell they're really just mailing it in. Yeah. And I don't get that vibe from you guys. Like you guys are, I take it, you're all younger and hungry, and that can't help but be represented in how the music sounds.
I appreciate that, man. Like that's like the biggest thing to me, like as like a music listeners, like I always want to hear like the integrity, you know what I mean? Like it, if people didn't like my band, I'd still be putting shit out, you know what I mean? And that's kind of the mindset I go into everything with, it's like, this is what I want to do, you know what I mean? So right. It makes me glad when I hear people like connect or like it means something to somebody, you know what I mean? That feels really good. So thank you for that.
Oh no, it's at the end of the day, I mean, most artists will admit they make music for themselves, not for everybody else. They make music for themselves, and if the fans get it, great. And if the fans don't, well, eventually they're going to come around to it. And there have been many maligned albums in history, especially in the rock and metal scene, where people shit on it when it comes out, and then years later, it's like, yeah, that actually is really good. I don't know why I disliked Filth Pig so much. Like, it really isn't that bad of an album. As I poked Tim about the Ministry stuff. So let's talk, Alex. Let's talk about that first album, right? So I'm Not the Same. This is 2017. Did you guys record that yourselves? Did you go in and book studio time? Let's go into a little bit about that.
Yeah. So 2016, I'm Not the Same, man. I went up to Michigan to go live and hang out and do music shit. I met a group of dudes, super great dudes. My life situation was kind of garbage, you know. I was kind of flopping on couches and shit, like, you know. And we started like sitting down to like write a record and stuff. And I was having these people over. Keep in mind, like, it's the dead of winter. I ain't got no fucking electricity. I ain't got no fucking heat. You know, all I got's like water at the point. And we're just writing this shit out, just trying to get this shit together. And yeah, man, it took us like about a month, but we went down to our drummer's studio, Sammy, and we ironed it all out and got the shit out and did everything for it. And that felt real good. So yeah, man.
Is that the same drummer that you have now that was on that record?
No, we had a different drummer for our first record.
Okay.
But our drummer on the new record, he was the one who recorded the first record. He's recorded everything we've done. So, you know.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah.
The progression from the first record to the single, you guys is impressive. Like, you could tell, like, it gets better and better every time.
The practice makes perfect, right? Practice.
Yeah. Just like, you know, just kind of opening your mind to like other sounds and shit. It's just like weird because every time we put something out, I'm always in the mindset of like, what can I do? Like, how much can I push before it's weird? You know what I mean? So that's kind of like with the new stuff. It's like, you know, I kind of think of it as being like more like heavy and just like irritated sounding. You know what I mean? Versus like, you know, like hip hop or whatever. You know.
Yeah, I remember you guys teased it on Instagram. I think it was like in the summer, and I'm like, oh, okay, we're gonna get something in like a couple weeks, and then like months go by. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, are they gonna put this out or what?
Us fans get impatient.
I know.
It's a lot of it's just like trying to line up like all this, like we are independent, so it's like when we prep for a release, it's like we have to do things a certain way to compete with, you know, everybody else. So sometimes it can take a little while when you're doing it all yourself to get it all packaged up and pretty and ready to go, you know, to show the masses or whatever. But yeah.
How did you guys get on the Body Snatcher tour, like doing everything yourself? Is this like a band you guys are friends with, or how did that work out?
I think it was like a link like through our drummer, because our drummer like knows pretty much everybody in like the deathcore scene. Like he does his shit, like everybody fucks with him. So we were trying to like find like bands to go out on tour with, and that was just honestly like a huge stroke of luck, but it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that band is fucking crazy.
Yeah. We just talked about that new song that they just released. It's really, really good. So was it, Alex, was it a full US tour, the whole nine, like slogging around in a van all across the country?
Yeah, I think it was like 2.5 weeks or something.
Wow.
Like I know we saw East. I know we went East Coast, a little like towards South, a little bit of the Midwest. I mean, it was one of those, you know.
Okay.
Yeah. Pretty dope though. Like I'd never been on tour before at that point, so it's just like going and doing that. You know, I wasn't even sure if I wanted a tour. You know what I mean? I'm like,
yeah, van dudes. Yeah,
everybody stink. You know. But yeah, no, it was a really awesome like first experience to have, like going out and touring and stuff. You know, it was a lot of fun.
Well, I know you said like your living situation was pretty bad at that time. Like, I guess maybe that was something that you were like, you know what, I could get away from this for a little bit too.
Yeah, I was just in between like rough spots in my life, and basically it was like I could either move home to Indiana or I could stay kind of under my conditions and finish our record. So it was like a lot of it was just like me trying to time crunch to go to the studio every day to make sure everything was done before I had to like get my shit and leave. So it was like I literally like I think it was like 2 days after the record was like recorded and finished, it was like, all right guys, moving back to Indiana, you know, we'll talk, we'll figure it out. And you know, we've done that this far. So
yeah, I was gonna say, like, so everybody's in Michigan and you're in Indiana right now.
Yeah.
Okay, so it makes a little sense now, like how you guys go. Not, and I'm not saying this in a bad way, how you guys go a little bit like on the slower route of releasing stuff. Like,
I guess you gotta coordinate it, right? It's all over the internet, swapping shit back and forth.
Yeah. It's definitely like a process, but you know, I think it's cool, you know, because I feel like there's a little bit more refining done to some of the material when it's put out that way. It's a little bit more purposeful, you know, like we don't want to just like spit out shit just so it's like, you know, if I see a bunch of other bands releasing shit, it's like, yeah, we could release shit too, but it's just like, no, I want to make sure we're gonna drop something. I'll make sure it's good, work nice and hard on it. You know what I mean? Like that's a grind
right.
that I'm on.
Right.
Yeah,
It's not a
that's
conveyor belt, just churn out a song release, churn out a song release, churn out a song release. Some bands do that and they do kind of well, but you get like a one-trick pony after a while.
It just amazes me, bro. Like shout out to all the bands that do that. Like I think it's an awesome thing to be able to just like stream content like that. But it's just like, when I think about like all the records I like and all the shit I like, I'm like, ain't no way this shit was made in a fucking month, bro. Ain't no way.
I mean, I actually think, well, you brought up Life is Peachy. I think that was one of them records, like that was pretty much they went in and just knocked it out real quick. But that record is that's the best Korn record in my opinion. So
yeah.
I mean, that's a dope record. I feel you. I've been more hung up on the Untouchables record, like this whole like last couple of years. Like that's been like my go-to just to dig into, because it's like I don't feel like it gets enough praise, and then like the production on it's kind of insane for the time period they did it in.
Jay, you could definitely see our age when he said Untouchables. Me and you.
Yeah, well, that's one of the funny things about doing the show is you can tell how old people were when certain things came out, because Alex's go-to was the Untouchables. I'm like, really? Like that's 2 albums past Follow the Leader. At that point, I was already listening to like Boys in the Well,
Yeah. No, I just that was a release that like went over my head when I was a kid, and then like it's like I rediscovered it on the internet and dug into it, and I was like, damn, how is this just not in the regular rotation? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to listen to that tomorrow now.
Yeah, I was just thinking. Today I went back and I dug through after our conversation last night a bunch of Glassjaw stuff that I hadn't heard in a while. So maybe tomorrow's homework is dig through the Untouchables, which was after Follow the Leader, right? Was that immediately after?
I think Issues, and then it's
Issues.
Yeah.
Okay, Issues was the first one. Yeah,
which isn't a bad record either. I don't think.
No, it's just I think the fans are starting to get a little older and they got a little cranky because they were looking for Life is Peachy 2 when they got Follow the Leader. And then after Follow the Leader, they were like, okay, can we get Follow the Leader 2? And then they got Issues. So Korn really started to mature and make different albums. And, there are some bands that can get away with doing the same album every time. AC/DC's made the same album like 16 times,
Yeah, I would definitely agree.
And I mean, and to your point, it's kind of wild when you think of bands like, I'll give them all the credit in the world, the Black Dahlia Murder. They put out an album. They tour for a year. They take 6 months off, 6 months in the studio to get the next one ready, and then it's back on the road again. And like, how do you churn out, for lack of a better term, content that reliably? And then you have the other end of that spectrum, which are the lunatics in Full of Hell, where they can't sit still and they're just putting out collab after collab after EP after collab after album. It's like, Jesus, when do you guys sleep?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that's when what maniacs do. Like Full of Hell, it's just maniacs.
Yeah, and then they're always on the road. It's like, I don't know. Like, hey, look, you got to hit the road. You got to, that's how you get big. I mean, you think about, Tim, how many times you and I have seen Converge in our lives because they literally got on the road and toured and opened for anybody and everybody, Yeah.
So I want to talk about like the direction of the band, like as you guys, went record to record, because it seems like Rat in the Wall, it's not like it's crazy off of what you guys are doing, but it's definitely heavier. And so what is like, are you guys aiming to write heavier stuff? And please tell me there's a new record coming as well.
Well, I think with like Rat in the Wall, after we put out our last record, like I think our last record was like really like experimental, kind of like out there for people, and I think a lot of people enjoyed it. So kind of like going forward with like new material and stuff, Rat in the Wall is not only is it kind of like a little bit of fan service, you know what I mean? Because like there's some people who, remember back when we was doing like heavy ass breakdowns and shit, and that's all. And I feel like as far as like our tastes, like we've all matured kind of in what we listen to from heavy music and what we appreciate from it. So kind of with Rat in the Wall, it was kind of just like, like we ain't put out anything heavy in a minute. It'd be really funny if we did. We just put it out, There's plans for like a new music to be coming out soon, to release all sorts of shit. And, it's just experimental, like I can't really just like be like, yeah, it's all going to be heavy, because it's not. But
no. I'm just hoping that there's a record coming. That's all.
Oh yeah. Yeah, there's a bunch of new shit coming. I can say that.
Good. That makes my life a lot happier.
And as far as experimental, I mean, honestly, I think these days people are more into it. Like they'll go for it. Like, hey, we're gonna do something fucking really weird. It's gonna be all Gregorian chant and like synthesizers. And
Yeah,
fans have been like, all right, yeah, I'll fuck with it. I mean, look, tomorrow Blood Incantation puts out a new album, which is 4 dudes with synthesizers, not like anything they've done before. So I just think people are more open-minded these days to just try new kind of weird, crazy shit and see how it goes.
Yeah, that's kind of where music's at. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like people just want shit that's like different. People want to hear people be themselves, you know, like, because it's like, it's really hard to sell like an idea or like a thing to people, but it's like, if you can be yourself and somebody connects with it, that's like an organic thing. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
that's kind of like that's kind of what I like out of music, is like when I can hear that there's a real person singing the song or playing the shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it kind of goes along the lines of what me and Jay were talking about last night. Like, I think, the people when we were growing up, it was always, all right, we're going to do a metal band or a hardcore band or a metalcore band. I think nowadays, since when the internet explodes and the younger kids are coming up and hearing all this music, like, they combine all these genres and there's no limits anymore. And I think that's why you're getting such a diverse, like group of people doing like diverse sounds and stuff. Because you weren't like the stuff like, with Loser or Vane and stuff, you didn't hear this type of stuff in 2000 or anything like that. It was just straight Converge, or it was Zayo or something, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's, you guys are adding elements in that people never really did. And I'm here for it, man.
I appreciate that, man. That means a lot. That's what it's about, man. Like, it's just whatever you feel, write it out. Your first idea is probably your best one. Just put out something real. That's it. That's how I think, anyways.
I love the interviews where they interview the band and like, so what do you think? What do you call yourself? Are you a metal band? Are you a hardcore band? Are you a metalcore band? And to your point, Tim, they kind of just look at the interviewer and they're like, we make music.
Yeah.
Who gives a shit? We make music. And it's like, well, honestly, it's the best fucking answer you can expect. Because I mean, and yes, us metal nerds, we like to go down genre rabbit holes, right? And argue about, is this new? Is this not new? Right? Like, but at the same time, it's like, relax. It's good music. Just take it and run with it.
I agree. I mean, I'm kind of like the same way with genres, though. It's like, I when people recommend me shit, it's like I want people to know what I like and stuff, and then I want to know what they like. So it's like the whole genre thing, like, it's not important like as a writer, but more so is like if you're on the consumer end of things and you're trying to find shit that sounds like other shit you like. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm kind of the same way.
Yeah, like I think like a lot of people, would call you guys like a new metal band. I don't really consider you guys a new metal band. I don't know what to consider you guys, to tell you the truth. I know it's fucking good, but it's
which is great. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I mean, if I had to answer, I would say like a metalcore band. If I had to. You guys have the new elements, but like that doesn't see, I think a lot of kids think they hear one new metal riff and they're like, they're a new metal band, but it's like, they're not really.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
that was Pantera might have had a riff that sounded new metal. It doesn't make them a new metal band. Like, that's what a lot of kids do, and it's so aggravating.
That was kind of like my whole thing back in like when we were putting out our record and everything. It's like I talk a lot of shit about that stuff because I'm just like back in like 2013, 2014, if you were to tell somebody that you like, it's like, oh man, I like a lot of new metal. It's like I want to do like a project that's like influenced back that. It's like they would have laughed at you.
Yeah.
But now it's like, 20, we release our first record. It's like, every metalcore band is kind of just like dressed in tracksuits, like doing the whole fucking, just, doing their best. I don't fucking know. I don't, so it's like,
And to your point, like coming from where me and Jay are right now, Philly, Jersey area, if you were even right now, if you're like, I'm starting a new metal band, you get shit on instantly.
Oh, it's just some mouth breather complaining. But here's the thing. They'll talk shit, but then they'll go home and they'll listen to System of a Down, and they'll listen to that first Slipknot album, right? So it's
right.
It's one of those. It's more posturing for posturing's sake. But you're right. In 2013, if you had told people you were doing like a new metal influence revival, they would have like ran you out. And now it seems like bands are glomming that onto their description when they're not even remotely close because they want to get sucked up in that whole vortex of what amounts to the revival, right?
I mean, I think for a lot of like kids, I think they just kind of like fuck with the image because like if you go to shows to see bands that like do what we do or like other bands and shit, it's like I feel like a lot of new bands lean more on the metalcore side of things because they're scared for kids to not like beat each other up at their shows. Like for me, it's like we got soft ass songs and we're gonna play those soft songs live. You know, if people just look at me and they paying attention, you know what I mean? We're having a moment. That's okay with me. You know what I mean? I feel like that's when music was at its best. If people are paying attention to you, that's everything. But it's like a lot of these other bands, it's like they just do the gug, 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 and then they give you like 16 weak ass rap bars. It's like, oh my God, they're new metal. It's like, all right.
Yep.
Sure you are.
Yeah, you're right.
Sure you are.
16 weak ass rap bars. You might as well be on Slayer. What was that? Diabolus of Musica, right? Like, I mean, that was basically what they did. Yeah.
Right.
I wanted to. Go on, Tim.
Before I forget this, it just popped in my head. I was always curious about in a couple of your videos, like one of your guitar players was like wearing a mask before like it was people wearing masks because obviously this stupid ass pandemic thing. But like, what was up with him? Is that something medical kind of thing, or he just likes to wear a mask?
He just likes to wear a mask sometimes. Okay. Like, you know, it was just like a thing. You know, we're experimenting kind of with just like aesthetics and things. And it's like, you know, that was during a time where it's like you see a lot of bands doing like different shit just to get people to visually pay attention. Like, you know, like North Lane wearing like the chromed out hazmat suits and shit. You know, it's like you got people like pretty much just doing whatever. So it's like, you know, that's kind of what we were doing too.
Experimenting with an aesthetic. Yeah, he's experimenting with aesthetic. You know, funnily enough, Alex, we just interviewed the guys from Crossbreed, and they were talking about their jumpsuits are made by a stripper in Tampa who was also a seamstress. And hearing that story, I'm like, yo, I would wear a jumpsuit too if I had a stripper say to me, "Oh, I'm a seamstress. So I'm going to make you guys like shit you can wear on the road." Like, well, fuck yeah. Why not? Right?
That's pretty dope.
You're right, though. There is, and I think this might be, Tim, this might be the are they new or not, like the differentiator. There is an aesthetic that comes into play. And there are some bands that ape the sound without aping the cosmetic and vice versa, the aesthetic and vice versa. And I think that's how you can really tell when a band's into it, right? Because if they're doing something really unique, both musically and appearance wise, and creating like an image, that's like you said, Alex, that's what gets people to stand up and pay attention.
It is, you know, because like the attention span of the average person is just probably like a tenth of what it used to be. So it's like you got to really be in people's faces for them to like know you and pay attention. That's why it's like, you know, that's why it's hard for like smaller bands to blow up and shit. It's just because like, you know, like you got to be so on it and so competitive, and like, you know, that's kind of what it is, man.
And the ADHD these days is it's real because, you know, I think I used to be one of them dudes. It's like, I want a full length, but then like, I notice I'm like, I kind of like the EP now.
Yeah.
And there.
Who are we talking to, Tim, where they said that, one of the reasons why hardcore will never get so big, only gets so big is it looks like 5 dudes who you'd run into, you know, at the local Wawa. Like they literally look like they just walked out of the audience. They got on stage, they grabbed instruments, and they just fucking lose their minds. And a lot of them are really, really good, but there's not to say everybody should look like Slipknot, but there's no visual differentiator there, which actually, I mean, as great as they are musician wise, it kind of doesn't work in their favor. Like look at what we were talking about last night, Incendiary. They're an amazing band. And they literally are 5 dudes that I could run into in the lobby at work going into the office. So, you know, that's for them, maybe that works, but for hardcore bands of the typical run of the mill, it's how do you differentiate yourself if you're just doing 2-step parts and all that sort of stuff? It's kind of getting stuck in a rut.
Yeah. Well, I think nowadays that you have to use video to like you got to put out visual. Mm-hmm. I'll just say visuals, because a lot of people, like if you just have like songs up, say like Bandcamp, and you don't take the time to put it on Spotify or Apple, and you don't take the time to make a video, I think a lot of bands just flame out real quick that way, because people want to see what their favorite bands look like. You know what I mean? They want to see they want to see the shirts they have on, like, oh, what band shirt is that? And I think it's big for younger kids these days. I mean, when we were young, Jay, everything was you go through the book of the CD and who are they thanking? Who are they listening to?
Right.
You know
What t-shirt are they wearing in that MTV interview? Because I got to check out that band. All right, Tim, here's a question for you. What's a CD you bought based upon seeing a band wear the shirt or mention it in the thank yous, and then it was terrible?
Biohazard was talking about propane one day, and I bought one of their records, and I was like, oh,
You don't like propane?
they're kind of generic to me.
It's a New Jersey poor man's Biohazard, but they were all over North Jersey. They were all over. For me, it was this Einstürzende Neubauten. And now that I've said that, Chris Bollinger just looked at his phone and he wants to start punching it, right? But I think it was like Trent Reznor mentioned them or had like them in a liner note. And I bought it, and it truly was like industrial, when the idea of industrial was, hey, let's listen to a fucking vacuum cleaner, you know?
Yeah.
So not all synths and drum machines. It was like noise. And I was like, what did I just spend my allowance on?
Yeah.
This is something else. How about you, Alex? What about a time you picked up something on a recommendation and went, oh my God, this is terrible?
I think I saw, like, I heard like a song from like Saliva, and I asked my mom to buy me like the full CD, or I think she gave me the full CD for Christmas because she thought I'd really be into it. And like the one, like, they have like a couple songs on there that are dope, but just like the rest of it, I was like, not very.
You heard click click boom, and then you're like, oh, it's a pretty decent song. And
these
then
guys are catchy. Yeah.
They have a couple like really good songs, and then like the rest of that specific record is just like, not really my thing.
It's funny you say that, because I love the single, the click click boom, and then the rest of it, I do the same thing.
Right?
Yeah, I can do without that.
But that's what the wife. That's one of the Wieland her taste. I can get her to listen to what is now we consider proto butt rock. That's like as far as I can get her to go. So like Breaking Benjamin, Saliva, Chevelle, I can get her into that. Like I can get her into it, and she'll listen to it. So hey, look, I mean, it's not misery signals or misery index, but I'll take it. So Alex, let me ask. I'm going to ask you the same question I ask every time we get somebody from bands on here. So you have the chance to do a national tour, and you are co-headlining. So who do you take as the other headliner, and then who do you pick as the opener? So it's your choice. Whoever you pick, they got to go.
Like co-headlining with us?
Yes.
I think Unity Texas would be dope. Like a co-headliner with them would be awesome. And probably the homies in Desolate.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's I literally just heard them not too long ago. Shit is ripping.
Yeah. No, they're super sick. We've been on tour with them before.
Oh, okay.
I think we went out with what tour was that? Sorry, my brain ain't working.
Sorry. I do that every episode.
I think they went out for some dates with us for the Fallen Dreams, I think. But Unity Texas.
Okay.
Yeah.
Another great band.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir.
They're one of them bands that, like, at first, like, I'm like, they're just on that metalcore tip that everybody's on. But then they put out like a newer record like a year or two ago, and I'm like, this shit is fucking good. Like, I can't deny it anymore. Like, it's good.
Great band. They're immaculate live. I think Chad Rulig's like one of the like best, most consistent vocalists in all of metalcore. Like, he's like the GOAT.
Yeah, super catchy stuff. I forgot to send Jay this, but I want to talk about this. You guys did a paper cut cover by Linkin Park, and you added like your own flair to it. It's really fucking good, man. I
appreciate that, man. Yeah, that was a fun one. We got David Liebert, the former vocalist of Barrier, on that one too. So he's a homie.
Yeah. You guys did like your own little flair to it. I was like, that's just good. You guys awesome. Did that like, what was that, 17? That was a while ago, right?
Yeah. It was a crazy ass long time ago.
You guys play that live?
No, never.
No, we're not going to do that live.
we just don't, like, I don't know, like for like covers and stuff, like if it was some like off the wall like radio grunge cover, so something like that, it's like we'd probably play something like that live, but I wouldn't want to play like somebody else's like heavy songs and shit live, you know what I mean?
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Another thing just came I had to, and I'll ask you before we get out of here, because I know, we want to be, we want to take all your time.
Respectful. Yeah, we don't want to
yeah.
eat. We don't want to eat
y'all are
anybody's
good.
all night. Yeah.
Yeah, you good?
I noticed you guys, like, some of your videos were coming out on Red Zone Records. Did they put, like, what's your association with them?
That's a label we were signed to for Never Young. It's ran by Frankie Palmieri from Amir.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
I thought he did Silver or something like that. Or I didn't know that was his label. Okay.
Yeah, it was for a minute.
Oh, so he's not involved with it anymore.
I don't really know.
Okay. He's a Tim hater, so I can't.
I was gonna say, Tim, he's your boy. He's part of the Tim Anderson fan club.
He wants to fight. So
let me ask you this, Alex. Another question: what other bands? So our listenership is all over the place, right? It's old heads like me and Tim. It's people that are young like you. It's people that make you look old, right? Some of the real young kids. So if you had to throw some bands in our listeners' directions to say, hey, man, you might not have heard of this, but this is some of the stuff you should check out. What would you suggest?
I mean, like Kool-Aid Khan, Texas, they're super solid, super sick band. If you like rap music, like Scarlord's dope. I've been listening to like some weird ass shit lately, like 1-800-PAIN. Like it's like some like underground SoundCloud type stuff.
Okay.
So it's kind of like on the dirtier side of things. I'm kind of weird about music because like I don't really listen to as much heavy music as like I used to. Like I'll dig into like the oldies and stuff I know, but it's just like the new Vaden stuff is cool. The most recent stuff from Code Orange is pretty dope. Health is dope too. Hell, I've been listening to Health quite a bit lately. They're dope.
So you're in the like the electronic side of things and the hip hop and stuff.
Yeah. They're dope. I think they're like a production porn type band where they just like make songs that sound like they belong in movies, and then they do like collabs with other artists and bands. Like they did one with Lamb of God, and like
right, that just came out. That was awesome.
Right, like I'm not even the biggest Lamb of God fan, and I heard that shit and I was like, damn, that's hard.
Yeah, the Perturbator cover thing they did was amazing.
Yeah.
Yes. And didn't they just do something with Full of Hell?
9 Inch Nails.
Oh, and 9 Inch Nails? Yeah. I think that's one of those almost like flywheel type ideas where you do a couple collabs, a couple bands, and other people see, oh, well, you did that with Tim. Well, you should go do that. Now I should go to you because I like Tim. So it's self-fulfilling prophecy where it just keeps repeating on itself.
Yeah, that's the kind of stuff I want to do. Like I want to take our band and like bring like people in, do like a whole like record that's just chock full like hip hop features and like features from like other artists and shit. Like that's what I want to do because I produce a lot, so it's like it's only natural.
I was literally just gonna say, do you produce like beats and stuff?
I do. I do like production for artists, like write music, everything from like like producing like lyric stuff to beat making to full on like songwriting and all that type of shit. So
oh, cool.
Yeah,
man. Where can we hear some of the beats?
I mean, I got some. I'm working with some people right now. Like, I haven't got to drop anything this year, but I got some stuff that's like Bleach Kid. That's what I produce under.
Gotcha.
Some stuff that I'll be dropping. So if you see that on anybody's shit, I probably made the beat.
Oh, okay.
Cool.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I wanted to ask too. Like, since the 4 other guys are in Michigan, like, do they do other bands as well, or do they produce and do like the hip hop stuff as well?
Well, our drummer, everybody's kind of like really like loser focused for the most part. Our drummer Sam, he runs his own studio. He's the guy that we like record all our shit with. He just he did, I think it was like, what was it, last year? He did the Embryonic Anomaly remaster for Rings of Saturn.
Okay.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and he's been working with a bunch of like underground like hip hop artists and stuff. Like he's working with this one dude. I think he's dropping his album at midnight called Project. He does like it's like metal influenced hip hop, like it's like scream rap and shit. But yeah, like he does like a lot of different stuff. So he's super like tapped in, like recording, traveling, stuff like that. So that's my homie.
He's doing some necro stuff.
Yep.
I wanted to ask too, like being in Indiana, like I remember a couple of years ago, like that scene was starting to like jump, like, or is it still going on around there? Because like I trying to think of the one band that was huge back then that came out of there. Jay will probably know.
You talking about are they like are they a prog band?
No, they were like a metalcore band.
It's not Too Pure to Die, right? They were from further Midwest, right?
I'm pretty sure like we have like the Contortionist and like a Gion, I think. If you like either of those.
Yeah, Contortionist, I love. Yeah. It was like some metalcore band. I think I had them on my other show before. I can't remember who they are.
As soon as it ends, this episode ends, you're gonna start yelling. You're like, I remember.
Yeah. But it's like this scene, like what's the big like genre scene over in Indiana?
I would assume it's hardcore.
Okay.
Like I've seen people talk about like some hardcore bands and shit, but like I don't know, man. Our scene here is like pretty small, man. Like when I moved to Michigan, like I had my mind blown because I was like, well, you guys go to shows every weekend. How? Like where do you guys go? Like, but it's gotten a little bit better. I mean, the pandemic's obviously fucked a lot of stuff up, but I'm hoping to see. Yeah, I'm hoping to see like I'm seeing more like venues open like locally and stuff. But yeah, I know we got like a decent hardcore scene here. Like at least like Indianapolis area, like Fort Wayne and shit.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay, cool.
It's like right on the tip of my goddamn tongue. Whatever.
Yeah, you'll come to it later. You'll text me like, "Yo, was this band I was talking about?" So Alex, wrapping it, taking it up and wrapping it forward. What can we expect from Losers, say, in the next year or so? Like, what's coming down the pike that we should prep our audience to be on the lookout for?
We got some potential stuff to play around the country in the works right now. Maybe do some touring. I know we got like a bunch of music lined up, like multiple projects worth of shit. I've just been we just been like cooking, just kind of doing our thing. So it's gonna be a really busy 2022 for Loser, I think.
Awesome.
That is awesome. And if our fans want to find you, Alex, where do they go?
Loser Michigan official on like Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. I think everything, to be honest.
Okay, cool.
Before we go, I want to tell you this, man. If I have to do a top 20 records ever again, Never Young is going to be in there. That is a fucking amazing record, dude. Seriously.
I appreciate that more than I could articulate, bro. That means a lot to me.
I'm not even blowing steam, dude. I fucking love that record. Them first 4 tracks are just banger after banger after banger. Like, just so amazing record, dude. Seriously, tell all your guys, man. Just amazing fucking record, and I cannot wait for more.
Yo, man, I appreciate that so fucking much, man. Thank you,
dude. Not a problem, man. I'm not gonna talk shit unless it's real, man. So.
I fuck with that, man. I appreciate that.
Awesome,
yeah, dude.
Awesome. So
hit us up, man, when you guys are ready for the record and stuff. We would love to, talk to you guys about it, promote it as much as possible, man. Seriously.
Yeah, bro, y'all are tight, man. I'd love to come back and do some shit like that, man.
Yeah, awesome, yeah, definitely. Man. When you're getting ready to release something, let us know. We'll have you on. Shit, you want to get the whole band on, and we can walk track by track. Like we can do that too. Like, I mean, we're starting to do that. There's a couple other bands, a couple other projects we got coming where they reached out to us, and we're going to be doing some, early release track by track walkthroughs. But yeah, we are definitely down. We're always ready to help. We really, we did. Being old guys and having all these years where we finally get to give back in some way, shape, or form that's not just buying a shirt or buying a disc. We're just trying to help as much as possible.
Right. I appreciate that, man. It means a lot. You know what I mean? Y'all putting back into, the community, what we do, the scene. It's good for it. You know what I mean? So it's awesome when I get to like talk to people about the shit that's going on, music and all that, man. So
definitely, man.
Awesome. So I want to thank Alex for taking the time tonight. Please check out Loser online. We'll put a bunch of links in the show notes. If you're a fan of our show, you're gonna like it. So I want to thank Alex on behalf of Tim, Alex, and myself. I want to thank everybody who's watching, who's listening. Again, find us at newbreed_podcast on both Instagram and Twitter. There's a Facebook group out there, newbreedpodcast@gmail.com. Get in touch. Let us know what you think. Let us know what you don't like. Let us know if you think our opinions are trash. That's great. We get a lot of those emails. Someday we're going to build them up and read them all on air. So once again, I want to thank Alex and all the guys at Loser. We're hoping for big things from them. And until next time, this is a New Breed Podcast saying peace.
See you.
See ya.